Hey everyone, I'm back with some brand new Dollar Tree Halloween DIYs for you in this video. If you're new here and you like home decor and DIYs on a budget, I invite you to stick around by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you never miss out on a new video. All right, now let's get into all of these brand new Halloween DIYs I have for you today. For this first Halloween DIY, it's a fun one. I'm going to use one of these cauldrons I found at Dollar Tree. I was surprised because it was pretty big for only $1.25, but I need to jazz it up just a little bit. I took some gold spray paint and sprayed it into a puddle onto a paper plate, and then just took a brush and brushed that gold paint all over the cauldron just to make the hammer details stand out more on the cauldron. So I just lightly brushed over all of that, and I used spray paint because I didn't have any regular gold paint available, so the spray paint worked. And then I went ahead and painted the little feet on the bottom of the cauldron all gold, so that way they stood out a little bit more. And then I wanted to go ahead and paint the handle gold as well. I went ahead and painted the sides with the brush, and then I just used spray paint and spray painted the inside and the handle with the gold spray paint. So for inside the cauldron, I'm going to be making a spoon look like it's mixing all by itself. So in order to do that, I need some sort of mechanical thing. So I found in the $5 section at Dollar Tree this little battery operated car that spins and moves and makes sounds and lights up. So I needed to take the sound out of the mix though, because it just had a really annoying sound. So I just took the top of the car off by removing 4 little screws in the back. And then you can see here I'm pointing to a little white wire that goes to the sound of this whole thing. And all I did was cut that, and that turned the sound off. So there's no more sound other than the motor, which that's pretty loud, but there's nothing I can do about that. But there's no like car noises or anything going on. So all I did was reattach the front with those screws again, and then you can see this spins around if you put it on the back 2 wheels, and it just continuously spins. Now for the spoon part of this, I just got a wooden spoon or spatula from Dollar Tree, and I am going to attach it to the car. I'm going to attach it to the top part of the car that spins just with some hot glue. Now to put it inside my cauldron, I do need to elevate it a little bit and also keep it from falling over and standing up so that way it spins. So I used a can of Vienna sausages, and I hot glued that to the bottom of the cauldron and just hot glued the car to that top of that can, just making sure that it stands up straight. Now you can definitely see the car from the cauldron, so I wanted to cover that up. I'm going to use a piece of foam board that I had to cover the top of the cauldron. I just cut out a circle that was the size of the top of the cauldron. I would have just traced the cauldron if I would have thought about this early on, but I didn't. I just measured it and cut it out, and then I cut a hole in the top of the foam board as well, and I needed it to be big enough so that way the spoon, when it spun around in a circle, it didn't hit the side of the foam board. Once I got that done, I'm just gonna go ahead and paint it with some black acrylic paint. I painted the top and the bottom of it and let that dry. And then to cover the top of it, to make it look kind of like it has bubbles, I had 10 of these Halloween picks. They're just little decorative styrofoam balls. I just pulled them off of the picks and hot glued them to the top of the foam board, and then I can just pick up the foam board and turn on the car, and then just kind of gently put the foam board back on top of the cauldron when I want to turn this on. So I just filled up the board with the foam balls, and then to fill in some of the gaps, I used some spider webs to make it kind of look like smoke, and I added a couple spiders and a few eyeballs that I had, and I think this turned out pretty awesome. I added my witch that I've had for a long time. I hung her up and had put her hands over the cauldron like she's using her magical powers to make the spoon mix on its own, and I just absolutely love how this DIY turned out. For this next DIY, I've always wanted one of those mirrors that the skeletons or the ghosts are like popping out of them, but I don't want to pay the price for them. So I'm going to make one on a smaller scale with this Dollar Tree mirror and one of these Dollar Tree skeletons. I cut my skeleton at the bottom of his spine where it met the waist, and then I hot glued his spine and his rib cage to the back of the mirror. I left his head free so that way it could move around. And then for the hands, I don't know what happened to the footage, but I did use some really tiny scissors and just kind of make like little cuts in between his fingers so that way they kind of spread out a little bit and maybe just a little bit easier to glue down. And then I just glued those down to the front of the mirror. And then I covered up kind of the imperfections and the skeleton with just a bunch of moss that I had. And I did cut slits in his rib cage as well and pushed that moss down into the rib cage just to make it look a little more spooky and realistic. I love how this turned out. He's super cute, and I'm so excited that I made him for only a few dollars. For this DIY, I'm going to use one of these pieces of scrap wood that you can get at Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to use 2 of these foam blocks that you can get from Dollar Tree as well. I hot glued them down with the bigger circle on the bottom and the smaller circle on the top. And I just hot glued them next to each other on that piece of wood. For the styrofoam pieces, I need to cover those up. So I got some of the black velvet ribbon in the Halloween section at Dollar Tree and also some of the purple velvet ribbon that they have. And I am just gonna go ahead and cut 2 pieces for the top of my styrofoam. And I just laid one piece on one half of the styrofoam, hot glued that down, and then laid the other piece on the other half of the styrofoam and made sure that the seams meet in the middle. And then to wrap around the sides of the styrofoam, I'm using the purple velvet ribbon, and I'm just hot gluing that around the sides and meeting it in the front so that way it crisscrosses over each other. And then to cover up that hot glue crisscross, I'm adding just some buttons that I had in my stash. I did later on add an orange smaller ribbon just around the pieces of styrofoam and crisscrossed it in the front. You'll see that at the end. Just to add some more color, I thought it just kind of looked better that way. And then next I'm going to take these plastic skeleton tongs from Dollar Tree, and I just cut them off at the wrists with my saw, and then I place them inside of the pieces of styrofoam. So that way it looks like they are hands coming out of arms, basically, I guess, or clothed wrists is what I was kind of going for. And then I decided to go ahead and stain the board after the fact. I wasn't going to, but I went ahead and stained it. And then that was it. I am going to use this to hold like a little Halloween book or cookbook, or you could use this to hold a picture. I just think it turned out really awesome. Lastly, for this DIY, I picked up a few of these tinsel bats from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to remove the tinsel from them. At first, the orange tinsel was kind of hard to remove, and then when I went on to the second bat wing, I realized that the orange tinsel is just an insert that sits inside of the bat wing, so you can take that insert out and then remove the tinsel from that and then put that insert right back in. So that's what I did, and now you can see I am just wrapping the bat wings with some of this twine. I wrapped both bat wings all the way, and then I just used hot glue at the beginning and kind of in the middle where I needed to, and then also at the end to secure it. I also wrapped the body and the ears with twine as well, again just using hot glue to secure everything down. It did take 2 spools of twine to wrap each bat. I did 3 bats. It was a little time consuming, but in the end I think they turned out really awesome and kind of have a Pottery Barn look to them and would be cute just kind of hanging from a mantle or somewhere else in your home. And I think it just is a different DIY. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you some inspiration for Halloween this year. If you got to the end of the video, make sure you leave me in the comments a bat emoji, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.